got that heat.
Welcome to another edition of the Lakers Locker Room. I'm your host, Tajon Graham, and at the time of this recording, the 22-23 season is officially closed for most of the teams. We still have the women's hockey team to shout out to the women's hockey team who just clinched nationals for the second straight year, so they'll be heading to Quebec very, very soon. So gotta stay tuned for that. A lot of more stuff's coming through. At the time, we have a lot of people coming through the podcast throughout the rest of the season, a lot of different athletes, newcomers, so you're gonna hear a lot of different voices throughout the rest of the season of the Lakers Locker Room. Today on this episode, I have a very special guest. He's a newcomer on the men's volleyball team. And actually, I didn't even notice until I researched this last night. The man's actually a national champion, 2022 national champion for CCAA, the Camel Sun College, man. I got Jacob Ringma here. Jacob, how you doing today, bro?
Good, man. It's good to be here. Never been on a podcast before, so it's kind of weird, but new. And thanks for having me.
Nah, no doubt, man. So let's get right into it. So, like I said, the 22-23 season is over for a lot of teams, including you and I. First of all, how is your body feeling, man?
It's a little beat up, but it's not as bad as it's been in the past. I think this year I learned a lot of like load management, and I think I did well. But it's like the end of season stiffness, as we talked about. It hits you.
What part hurts you the most?
Probably my knees. Like they're just
gone.
They don't want to perform the way that I want them to.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Right now, I told you, like I said, my knee is gone right now. My tibia hurts. I cramped my sleep last night, so I feel you with the pain. But honestly, though, since the season's done now, obviously we have a lot more time on our hands. How have you been able to adjust to now no practice every day, like road trips? Like, how has that transition been like?
It's actually been pretty weird. Like, I think it's been harder to do school. Like the first week off practice was pretty tough because I had so much time. I didn't know what to do with it. And then now I'm I'm settling into more of a pattern and like scheduling my days to do work and then go to the gym and then do some more work. But I'm enjoying it, but I miss being able to practice and compete with the guys every night.
I was literally just about to ask, do you still have the itch of the season kind of because people don't understand, I feel like when you're in it, a lot of times athletes just sometimes, because sometimes you don't want to go to practice, but then when it's done, you realize you kind of get that itch to want to go back. So just about to ask, would you say you kind of still have that itch to kind of want to play again and kind of want to compete at a high level again?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely felt burnt out towards the end of the season. It was a long season, and I think I did pretty well staying with it, but I miss competing, and that's always what I love is competing. So volleyball is it's a long season, so it's the competition I miss more than the volleyball and competing with the guys every night, and that's what I love, and that's what makes me want to keep going.
Yeah, like I said, this was your first year. I remember saying, you previously spent your first 2 years of the collegiate level at Camel Sun College in BC, where you won a national championship last year. Before I even get into all to that, actually I need to know, what does winning a national championship feel like?
It actually feels a little weird. It was
really.
It was. I've won 2 national championships.
Okay,
technically.
Excuse me.
But one of them was with Team BC, and both of them were it takes a while to sink in. You win the game, and you're it's more relief at first, and the pressure and the intensity and the adrenaline is settling, and then after, when you're in the ceremony, you're getting your medals, it kind of starts to sink in. And for me, it was when my parents flew out to Quebec last year to watch.
Yeah.
So
Quebec last year, okay.
Yeah, so when I was able to go talk to them and give them a hug after the game is when it really sunk in, and I was our season's over. We won a national championship to end our season, and it was kind of surreal. It was pretty fun.
Wow, what's your favorite memories from last season? Just the whole process. Like I said, there's so many memories you can make, on a special run like that. So, what was your personal favorite memory from last season winning a national championship?
Probably playing with a bunch of older guys, and I learned a lot there, and I had a really experienced coach who is now retired, but he's pretty well renowned in volleyball, and I don't know, playing with the guys, winning, and kind of just making like myself known from a small town in college, and then like being able to transfer here. I think that's probably my highlight, nationals and provincials last year.
Nice. You know, a lot of people that don't know about you, but personally, me getting to know you, like you said, you're from Terrace, BC, so obviously pretty northwest of BC. You said like it's a pretty far away from Vancouver. Just kind of, what did it mean to you, kind of, for you personally to be able to put like a small city on the map? You know, like a lot of times people who are from small cities really don't have a lot of opportunities or really a lot of spotlight to be seen. So for you to be on that stage and to win it and to really put, like you said, a small city on the map, like what did that mean to you personally?
I don't know how to put that into words, because there's a lot of athletes that have come out of Terrace for how big it actually is. Like I think in my high school there were 60 people, and out of like the 3 grades above me, there were 4 people that went to play volleyball in college and were pretty successful. And we have an Olympian in men's volleyball from Terrace, and so just like growing up, there's a athletics community, and it was always a goal to get out of Terrace. That was like the dream for everyone, was to come from a small town and go play post-secondary sport.
Right.
And like that was just my goal from when I started playing sports, before I even knew volleyball was my best sport.
Yeah, so growing up, like, what other sports did you play other than just volleyball?
I played soccer for the longest time.
Okay.
I played basketball in high school.
Okay. Yeah, that jumper's still nice or no?
It's okay. I should have seen me in my practical last week. I was cooking up some kids.
Okay, excuse me, my bad.
I think that was the only competitive sports I played, but I would play anything that I could get my hands on, and anything that was competitive with my friends, especially in PE. Like, those pickleball games got pretty heated, I won't lie.
Yep.
But anything.
Yeah, so when did you know that, okay, this volleyball is the sport I want to focus on, this is what I really want to do in terms of post-secondary? How old, what was the situation, or how old were you when you just made that decision?
I think it was the end of my grade 9 year.
Okay.
Which is, I think it's pretty early for some people, but up until that point, I played soccer, and soccer was like my favorite sport. And then I'd had a lot of knee problems from soccer, and like running. I hated running. So I was like, volleyball's nice because all you have to do is jump. And,
you damn sure can't have that mindset playing basketball, because all you have to do is run.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially soccer. So
yeah, but I think it was also due because a lot of my peers played volleyball, and a lot of their older siblings played volleyball, and my dad coached volleyball and still does in high school. So I think it was more influence of my peers and my family. Okay. And so I think that's what it was.
Nice. So you played 2 years, like say, at Campbellton College. Like, you won the championship last year. So how did it? Like, did you always know you wanted to go to youth sports? Like, how did that whole situation come about to even look to move on from Campbellton and try to get to a university?
Yeah, my goal was always to play youth sport, and coming out of Terrace, I thought it was going to be hard to get an offer in a youth sports school that I wanted to go to. So I wanted to go college because I think it fit my playing style and my experience level a little bit better.
Right. Before we continue, what school did you want to go to, like, at the youth sports level? Like, which schools are on your wish list?
My wish list, probably UBC.
Okay. No Trinity Western, no.
Obviously, everyone has a dream of playing at Trinity Western, but I was more interested in UBC and U of A than anything. I never really pursued either of those, but those are like my dream. And then once I got to college, I was like, this OUA league looks pretty nice. Like, I kind of want to experience Ontario, so I looked into that a little more.
Yeah, it was nice. Cause I was just about to say, because I was just about to ask, like, did you ever think about going east? Because you've been a West Coast kid your whole life, so going east is a whole new ball game. So how did it come about for Nipissing and Coach Young? How did that whole recruitment process come about?
This actually, I think this story is kind of funny.
Okay.
So last year when I was at Camosun, I had a teammate that played. he's a year older than me. So before COVID year, he played at York. Okay. And then when COVID happened, he took a year off and he was in Victoria. So I hung out with him a bunch, and then he was on our team last year. And he like talked about the OUA a bunch and like kind of got me on like that I would be a good fit in the OUA. Mm-hmm. So I was like looking at OUA teams. I emailed like York and U of T and Ryerson. Mm-hmm. And then it was the weekend that York came to Nipissing. Okay. And I saw this TikTok. I think maybe you've seen it. Maybe I don't need to tell what TikTok.
Okay.
But I saw that TikTok, and I was like, I thought it was kind of funny because I wanted to go to York, and then I was like, maybe Nipissing is a good option. Like clearly they're ballers. Like they got good guys, and I've heard really good things about the program. Yeah. Like when I looked into it and about the coach, and then so I emailed Younger, and he got back to me really quick. And I think from when I emailed him to when I signed, I think it was just over a week and a half. And I thought it was a pretty easy decision, and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, because one thing, too, that I'm putting the pieces together, I remember you talked about kind of the fact that you had a lot of experience winning a national championship. Now, everyone knows that Coach Young obviously won a national championship when Nipissing was a college back in 2013. Would you say that in a way that kind of attracted him to recruiting because you have had the experience of what it takes to win at the highest level and that you could probably bring that to the team?
I think that was part of it. I think that was part of why he was excited to have me and likes me on this team. But I think, like, I emailed him first, but that was one of the things he did talk about. Yeah. And he was like, I think that's good that you have experience, and I hope that you can bring that. And I hope that I do, and I hope that I can keep bringing that experience to our team.
Exactly. You know, a lot of times when people, because I've had one of my teammates on first semester, Mukhtar, who's obviously graduating this year, he spent same thing 2 years at Olds College in Alberta, and then he came to the OUA. So he definitely talked about like kind of the transition period. Now when I was looking up about you last in terms of research, I saw the article that obviously Nipissing wrote when you first came here. I kind of want to read something that you said. Where he said, I would describe myself as a high-jumping, athletic, but undersized player. I also have a good amount of strength and muscle to make up for my lack of height. I think I would have a good mind for the sport, and I love the process of working to achieve winning. So now that obviously the season has passed, and obviously when you look back at that statement I just read, how would you say you lived up to what you said going into the season, kind of how it ended now?
I think I could have done a better job holding my athleticism. Like I think that petered off, but I think
that's very objective, by the way. That's a very objective opinion.
I think that's something I see in the way that I value my performance and things like that. Looking back, but I think everything else I did fairly well with. Like I love the work that I can put in and seeing progress, and I love seeing the progress that I've made with my team and the progress that my team made this year. Yeah. I think there's ups and downs, but I think overall it's good to see how we've grown together.
Nice. So obviously, like for basketball, like when Mukhtar talked about, he talked about like obviously the speed of the game was different from college to here. In the case of volleyball, what would you say was the biggest difference in the game from the college level to like the university level? Like what would you say was the biggest difference for you?
I think it's technically. I think technically we're a lot more sound, like our game planning and just like the little things that'll get you maybe a point a game. It's a lot more like looked at here. We didn't really do much of that in the Pac West, and I think there's more of a well-rounded team and teams in the OUA. Yeah, like you don't have a one man show, and if you do, it's not as successful as it is in the college level.
Yeah. So who was the first game you guys played this year?
First game was against Guelph this year.
Well, how would you describe your first game in the OUA?
I barely remember that. That was a long time ago. I remember I was sick. Our whole team was sick. Oh. And it was my first game playing right side, and I never played right side. Oh, in my life. So it was a new.
What's your natural position?
Left side.
Okay.
So it was a new position. It was a new team. It's a new league. It's a new gym, new atmosphere. Like there's a lot of new things going on.
Yeah.
And I was kind of just trying to soak up the experience and enjoy it, and then kind of learn from that. And I think it went up from there for sure. I did my best to do, especially because I'm not probably naturally suited to that position.
Right.
But I did what I could, and I enjoyed it.
Nice. You know, a lot of times when people talk about team, you know, there's a lot of things that go towards a successful team. One of those having to be sacrificed. Would you say you being open to taking that role, would you say that may have set a tone for a team in terms of being able to sacrifice? Because a lot of times I feel like the difference between a good team and a bad team is just simply sacrificing, just being able to say, hey, I might not be comfortable with this position, but if that's what it takes the team to win, then I'll do it. Would you say that may have set a tone in a good way for the team to be able to sacrifice for one another and do whatever it takes to win?
I think it should have done. It should have. I think personally I could have done a better job at that. Like I think I think I could have played a better role on our team this year, in terms of like emotional stability and kind of like the little things, because like we have other guys on our team like Jackson and Jaron Trent that can perform at the net and are big presences. Right. And then we got Josh Setting, who's probably, I think, the best setter in the OUA. And like,
shout out to my guy Josh, by the way. Shout out Josh.
Yeah, shout out Josh. And then we got good defenders. So I think like just learning roles, I think is a big thing. And it's something that I think I need to work on. It's something that I look forward to being able to keep working on for the next 3 years.
Yeah, you talk about this now too, and honestly, like the thing about sports, like you said, it's so emotional. Like there's so many ups and downs. Just basically, like I said, I'm really appreciative of the fact that you're being very objective, because I think it makes it easier to have these type of conversations, right? Because I feel like with these conversations, people need to know like this is kind of what happens in the life of an athlete, because people just see, like we talked about in the episode before, but like people just see, okay, you go on the court, like basketball court, volleyball court, hockey rink, like they just see, oh, there's a team. But people don't understand that there's so many things that go into what happens before. Like it could be a bad practice, it could be an emotional breakdown, whatever. So based off what you've gone through this year, what would you say is something that you've learned in terms of how to deal with emotions better that you can take if you go into next year and the years after that?
I think taking time to like digest what people say, and that's something I really struggle with. Right. But it's something I'm trying to improve at, and I think that's a very important thing, especially when you're trying to improve as a team. I think being able to talk to people in that way and receive that kind of talk back is important to bonding and performing as a team and just getting better on the court. Yeah.
Even this year, obviously, like I said, the volleyball team, I've obviously known her for 4 years. You guys are obviously a pretty cool, pretty chill group. What has been your favorite part about, you know, the locker room experience and just in terms of building bonds with these guys? Like I said, you came here, you're a new guy. Like, what was your favorite part about that process of building friendships and building relationships with your teammates this year?
I think the separation of on-court and off-court, like how on-court we can be super competitive and like just go at it, and still enjoy it. And then off court, we can be have fun in a more chill way and kind of like goof off like 20 to 24-year-old guys do.
How old are you, by the way?
I am 20.
Okay. You just turned 20, or you're going to be 21 this year?
I'm going to be 21 this year.
Okay. Okay, so I'll be 23. Okay, not bad. Not bad. So, obviously, like I said, you guys went through a long year. You guys made the playoffs again. Talk to me about that U of T game, because, unfortunately, even though I was there for reading, obviously I couldn't go, but I was looking at the sets, and that game was very, 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 very close. So, you guys won the first set, and I think every set you lost after that was like within 2 points, if I'm not mistaken, 2 or 3 points. So, kind of talk to me about that playoff game, like kind of what happened.
Yeah, it was a close game. I don't think anyone on our team would say that we performed like we hoped we would or expected that we would. So I think it was a little disappointing to lose, but I think it was a good experience. I mean, it was my first playoff game in the OUA.
Yeah.
Personally, I would love to have that game back and like be able to redeem myself in a way, especially like redeem myself for my teammates in a way, like kind of be there for them. But I think it is what it is, but it's tough to end your season like that.
I know, but it is what it is. Because I felt the same last year. Because last year I didn't play in our playoff game last year, so like it was sucked for me because I had this whole intent to kind of come back and try to be better and hopefully making the playoff push. Unfortunately, we didn't make the playoffs, so I definitely sympathize with you on that. But I will say though, at least it gives us something to work towards for next year, because a lot of times we're internally motivated, right? Like sometimes there's other factors that motivate us, but I think the fact too that things like this happen and just put things into perspective is okay. Like didn't work out for us. Okay, what can we do to reflect? How can I get better? And then just get back in the summer and work and then get ready for next year. But so basically, like I said, the season's done now. What are your goals? What is your approach now to the off season now? Now that you've played your first year, like obviously you're probably gonna have year-end meetings. You're probably gonna hear feedback. But as of right now, in terms of just before anything happens, like how do you think you're gonna approach the off season in terms of your first year and always done? I need to get better for next year. Like what's your approach looking like right now?
Definitely taking time off volleyball once we're done. I think that's important to kind of get a reset from that sport. I want to play other sports. So I want to try and get into soccer when I get back home, play a bunch of pickup basketball, and just like stay active and hit the gym, kind of just make sure I stay in shape and kind of progress through my off season and prepare my body for next year. And I think I learned a lot in that area, so doing that better and finding, like you said, like internal motivation. I think that's the most important thing of an off season, is finding that, because that's the most consistent version of motivation. Is what you can give yourself, and I think it's the healthiest, because it's hard to always rely on external motivation. But
exactly. Another thing that people don't realize too a lot is the fact that we're student athletes, but a lot of times people focus on the athlete, not the student. So we still have to go to classes, we still have to do all these things. How was your adjustment? Obviously, college is obviously different from university in terms of obviously the class schedules and obviously maybe, but what was your personal experience in terms of adjusting to how to do classes and like all the stuff you have to do with the team? Like what was that adjustment period like for you? Because I know for some people who go from college to youth sports, it's a big adjustment, but how did you transition into that kind of world of being a youth sports student athlete?
I think I did a pretty good job. I mean, I think I could have done a better job, but it was helpful because our team that's a very big focus on our team. Like at the beginning of the year, I think 60% of our team had the goal of being an academic All-Canadian, which is pretty high. I think we're just shy of that, or we might be just shy of that. But I think having teammates that kind of set the standard for class and school, and have that as your priority, is really important for the younger guys coming in to see that and realize that you're a student first, and then you're an athlete, not an athlete student. And honestly too, like just what you said, like the volleyball team has always been pretty good in terms of having a lot of academic All-Canadians. Like it's been pretty consistent, so it's definitely a testament to the leadership. So how many years do you have left at Dipsy? 2? I have 3 more years left here.
3? Okay. So basically, my final question before we get to quicker is basically, like I said, the season's done. You have a few more years left. When it's all said and done, you look back at your career. What do you want it to look like?
I want to be able to look back and kind of see how I progressed as a student, as an athlete, as a person, as a teammate. And I think I want to be able to take away lessons I learn on the court and apply them to my life. I think that is the biggest takeaway, and I think the thing that people take for granted about being able to play varsity level sports is those experiences and how you can translate them into your life.
Yeah, I agree, because there's so many lessons that sports can teach you that can you relate to life. Maybe even answers right now, like kind of up to this point, what's the biggest lesson that sports has taught you that you currently use to your life as of right now?
That's a tough one. I mean, obviously handling losing, being like obviously that's like handling tough times in life, but also being more mature like person on the court. That's something that I've always wanted to improve at, and I know I can always improve at.
Right.
But that's something I think is very important, because if I can manage and if I can learn to be that person on the court in that competitive environment, I don't think there's anything more like stressful or adrenaline prone than being on a court. And if I can handle that on the court, I think I can handle that in life anywhere.
Well, I really appreciate that. And like I said, I really appreciate the fact what sports can do, because it teaches you so much about life. And you know another thing, too, that people don't realize, too, and we talked about it in another episode, but, like, I feel like a lot of times, even workplaces in the future, like, love, like, athletes when they see we're athletes, because sports teaches so much about discipline. Like, we have to act a certain way. I feel like it also translates to the workplace. Like, would you agree?
Yes, I definitely agree. The discipline part is a big thing. And time management as an athlete, like we're busy people. Like having sports in the evening when I would have been doing homework at that time,
right? And
then getting home from practice and you're exhausted, and either you got to grind out a paper or go to sleep and get up and squeeze it out the next day. Like,
or sometimes pulling all-nighter.
Yeah, pulling all-nighters. Have done that.
We all have.
Yeah, it's tough, but sometimes you just gotta grind it out.
Yeah. What's the crazy all-nighter you have? Like, what's like the latest you've actually finished an assignment?
I've been pretty good with handing in my assignments on time.
Yeah.
I think my first year at Camosun, I had an anatomy midterm, or I had a biology midterm, I think it was, and I stayed up until like 3 or 4 in the morning, like studying. I had like 2 Red Bulls, and I think I got a 60. So I was like, clearly that doesn't work. I got to do something better.
No, I can relate, because I remember my first year at Nipissing, like I was so bad with time management. Like I was terrible. So same thing. I think it was for geography exam. Same thing. Yeah, I think I went up to like. Here's what I did. We had practice. My first year here, we had a lot of late night practices. So I think because every team felt bad for it, because everyone knew that we had late night practices. I think most of our practices would either end at 10:30 or 11. So yeah, especially like Monday nights. My first year was like I think like 9 to 11. So a lot of times we were getting home like midnight. So I remember there was one time I had a geography I think exam or midterm it was, and I remember I texted my roommate and said, "Listen, I need you to put out the coffee maker because I'm gonna need coffee. Cause I'm gonna be up all night." I literally stayed up until 3 in the morning, slept for 2 hours, woke up at 6 to try to finish studying. And same thing, results did not go well. So time management, anyone listen to the podcast, please manage your time. You need to manage your time. There's people at the university here that can actually help you manage your time. So look into that. Jacob's a testament. I'm a testament. Manage your time. You need to, especially if you're a student athlete. Like, it's the most important thing. Otherwise, you'll succumb to the pressure.
Yeah. Get your sleep.
Exactly. Get your sleep too, because your body will be destroyed. But thank you. But Jacob, man, this has been a great episode. It's been really fun to get to know you and just kind of learn more about you. But now we're getting to the quick hitters. So this is the fun part. So I'm going to ask you a question, and you have to kind of answer as fast as possible. Don't worry. I know you might be a little nervous. It's fun questions. You're not going to get too stumped, I don't think. But let's see how you do. But you ready?
Yeah.
All right. First question. I'm going to switch it up a bit. Okay. Who is your go-to artist on a workout?
On a workout? Oh, that's a tough one. I don't think I have a go-to artist during a workout. I actually don't mind listening to some classical music. Hate me if you want, but Symphony No. 5, it's my pre-game song. I listen to it every game.
You should meet our teammate DeAndre. DeAndre loves to listen to jazz before. Yeah, you should actually. Do you know DeAndre? Do you know DeAndre or no?
Yeah, I know DeAndre.
Yeah, DeAndre's the exact same way, so you guys could be good friends. Question number 2. A current artist or song you have on repeat right now?
Repeat. Oh. A lot of music questions. I'm not a big music guy. I'm not very knowledgeable.
Really?
But I'll say I like country. I don't mind.
Yeah, you really fit into North Bay.
Guilty pleasure.
You fit into North Bay perfectly. You fit into North Bay perfectly. Oh my gosh.
Small town things.
Yep. Oh man. So that means you must have heard the recent Morgan Wallen album, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've been hearing it. I haven't played it, but I think I've heard the whole album from everybody else that's been listening to it.
Oh my gosh, man. You know what I said, because recently there was a country night at the Fox, and I tell people come from Toronto, so there's something called Carabana. So basically it's a Caribbean like fest they do every year. It's really big. So basically what I said here, the analogy I gave is Country Fox in North Bay is equivalent to Carabana in Toronto. It's undefeated. Like everyone's gonna go to Country Fox at North Bay, everyone's going to Carabana in Toronto. So that's a funny one. Next question. Who's your favorite athlete?
My favorite athlete. Oh, that's a tough one. I gotta look at Kobe Bryant probably,
R.I.P.
or Michael Jordan.
R.I.P. man.
R.I.P. man.
R.I.P. Kobe, man.
The work ethic. Love the work ethic.
You know what I'm telling me, man. I was the biggest Kobe fan growing up. I actually used to wear number 8 until I was 14 because of Kobe. Because I fell in love when he had the afro. So, next question. What's the last show you binge watched?
Oh, last show that I binge watched. I think it was The Boys. I think I watched that when I was in camp during the summer, and that was it. I like that show. It's a little intense, but it was good.
Next question. What was a good one? If you could spend a day with someone dead or alive, who would it be?
I gotta say Michael Jordan or Kyrie Irving. I'd love to see what goes through Kyrie Irving's head.
Wow. I would not expect you to say Kyrie.
He's interesting.
He is something else. I don't know if he just wanted another rant, but that's another story. Okay, this was a personal one for me, so let's see where you go with this. Do you like pineapple on pizza?
No.
Oh my gosh. Damn. Okay, I probably lose this one too. Milk before cereal or cereal before milk?
If you put your milk in before the cereal, I think there's something a little off about you.
Oh my gosh. All right. The next question. What's a song that you would never forget the lyrics to?
Piano Man.
Wow. Okay. Oh, this one. Oh yeah. If you had to stay on a deserted island, what 3 things are you taking with you?
Probably my big jug of water.
Okay.
Big umbrella.
Okay.
And some weights.
This one's a good one. Okay, what's one skill you wish you were good at?
I gotta say singing. I think it'd be awesome to have a good voice, but I do not.
Same. That's honestly the number one answer.
Yeah,
no question.
I believe it.
No question. I'm with you, singing. Final question. This is an introspective one. So, if you had a time machine, would you rather go back in time to redo something in your past, or go to the future to get a peek of what you'll become?
I would go into the future. I'm curious to see what I'm like in 15 years, and then probably use that as motivation.
That's true. Hey, they always say anything from your past can change your future, so it's kind of weird to. I don't want to see if I touch the past, because everything in the past kind of made you who you are. So
exactly. I don't think there's anything I would regret in the past. I just learned. It's just a lesson.
That's a good way to end it. But that's all the time we have. So Jacob, man, I really appreciated you coming on this podcast, man. It's your first podcast, so you did pretty good.
I like that. I'll take that feedback. I really enjoyed being on this podcast, so thanks for having me. It was a great experience.
Nah, no question. Like I said, it's gonna be cool. Like I said, I got one more year here, so definitely get to watch you again next year. So definitely, I really appreciate your objectivity, because a lot of times people might be kind of over their heads, but the fact that you're very objective, I definitely respect that. So appreciate it. Hopefully now with this motivation, now you can kind of listen back to this podcast and kind of see where you are next year and say, oh, started back from there last year. So yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully we have some bye weekends when you guys have home games next year.
No, seriously, man. Like, I think because the last couple of years, it's been hard with volleyball. Like, a lot of time we want to go to your games. You guys want to come to our games. We had a couple more near the end. Yeah. But hopefully next year we can get a couple more times where we can kind of overlap and kind of watch a couple of games.
I think I could only watch 3 of your games this season. I think you had one split weekend and then one double host weekend that we had off.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, I remember you talking about, So it's just near the end, but like I said, I appreciate you. And with that said, that is a wrap on another edition of the Lakers Locker Room. I want to thank my special guest, Jacob Ringma, for joining us. You can find the video version on YouTube and listen to the full interview on all podcast streaming platforms. Peace.